Switch over, yeah, there you
Switch over. See if anybody's watching. I have.
Highly unlikely, but you never know.
Find out if anybody can hear us.
Can they?
Well, let's find out.
Yes, let's find out. Indeed.
Let me see. All right, anybody can hear us, please comment or like.
Yes, please comment. And know that I'm wearing a red t-shirt. Doesn't mean anything.
Oh, good Lord, can you stop?
I'm not supporting any political party.
Could you stop?
I'm not a Republican.
Oh, I'm going to play something. Okay, it's still playing.
I'm not supporting any political party.
Yeah, that's right. Good. All right, we have some sound here, right? We have one viewer. Okay. I don't know who the viewer is. Could the viewer please sound off and tell us hello?
Hi there. Ready? Ready to go?
And now we have one. All right. So yeah, somebody's hearing us and somebody's seeing us. So I would like somebody to just comment, please. Just drop a comment and say that we're live. Just say you're live and we're hearing you and we're not just talking into space.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't comment on the red t-shirt.
Could you? All right.
It was the closest thing I could find. A closed basket. Oh boy, here we go.
To the recording.
It's being recorded as we speak.
It's being recorded as we speak. I see one comment, but I'm not seeing comment section. All right, where's my comment?
Oh, really?
Where's my comment section? Comment section is all the way at the bottom here.
What section are in?
All right. Put it up on top here.
Good.
Yeah, okay. Hello, Tracy. Hello, Darren. Darren Boudin. Hello.
Hey, Darren Boudin, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, special guest star, Darren Boudin.
Okay, so we're doing the Eat Ian Chili ad.
What the hell are you eating?
This is sponsored by Ian's Chili.
Oh, good for you. We should all be so lucky.
Okay, so
did you get us any Ben & Jerry's ice cream when you're at it?
Blah,
yeah.
Blah. Jared, I hate Ben & Jerry's. I'm sorry.
You hate Ben & Jerry's? Why? Because it's too. Why? Because too man make it? Is that why it's extra? Is it why that's extra creamy because of Ben & Jerry?
All right. So Tracy, can you go and share this live? And Darren, can you go and share this live? We want to get a couple more people inside before we really start talking rubbish. Welcome to the 10th episode taping, because this is the taping.
Episode X.
Episode X, because we're extra, baby.
It's not rated X, but it's episode X. Episode 10, for those who are wondering. Yes. But that's not important right now.
It could be rated X if Avalon comes in and sees you wearing a P&M shirt. Sure.
No. I don't think anybody would like the idea of watching any of us naked right now. That's just not on. That's not on. Besides, I'm very sensitive. Exactly. Oh, no.
Right. So Tracy said he had MASH. What is that? That's a TV show. Tracy had a TV show. What's the name of the general in MASH? What was his name?
Colonel Potter?
Potter? His name is Potter?
Colonel Potter, yes. Played by Harry Morgan.
Harry Potter?
No, not... Oh, would you stop? It's not that kind of Potter. It's not that kind of Potter, Harry.
You're a general, Harry.
Oh, my God. I don't believe this. Okay, so... here we are celebrating.
Who are you,
It's
John?
a bit of a milestone when you think about it. Episode 10 but That's Not Important right now, where we get to talk about.
Right. Go on. You know what? Start over. Who are you, Jared?
Who am I? I think I'm an alien. I'm not too sure. No, actually, I'm currently a radio morning radio host for Platinum Hits 103.5 FM, where we play a lot of adult contemporary music and stuff like that, but that's not important right now. I used to have a background in advertising. In fact, in all of my the last 30 odd years or so, they were spent in media as well as in advertising. So I've worked on both sides of the coin, as it were. I spent 8.5 years as a senior writer for one of the country's more prestigious, I should say, ad agencies. And Ian Reid is the same. Ian has had an impressive track record. What's that? Yeah, he's had an impressive track record doing as a graphic artist and then some. He's had some extremely wild ideas, and he has a keen sense of humor. So yeah. And the two of us decided that we would come together, join forces, combine our powers, depending on your point of view, that we would come up with this edition of the show, really, but that's not important right now. People wonder, where did we get the idea for the show? How did we come up with the name and all that? Well,
it just we pulled it out of our ass.
No, we did not. We did not get it. No, we did not squeeze it out of our anal orifices, because that's just so wrong on so many levels. That's not how it worked. That's not how any of this works, Ian Reid. No, we happen to be fans of. We happen to be fans.
Both of us are fans of.
Yeah, of a classic comedy film known as Airplane, and usually when somebody asks a particular question, more often than not, the response would be, well, for example, what is a hospital? Well, a hospital is where they put sick people in, but that's not important right now. And we figured that would be a great idea for a show, because what we talk about, at least ostensibly, might not seem to be important, but as time goes on, it may very well turn out to be just that. So it's a kind of a paradox we're working on here. That's how that was the raison d'etre, if you will, but that's not important right now.
But there were a couple of scenes in Airplane, where the movie that we looked at, that we both liked. The story about Airplane is I first saw Airplane when it came out. When did Airplane came out? Not in 79?
Airplane came out in 1980. You were a kid back then, Ian.
Yeah, I went by, well, my dad's half-sister and her husband, and their children were fairly old. They're already in their 16, 17s. I was only about 6. Robert was about 3. And we were bored out of our minds. And this girl said, well, you want to watch a movie on VHS? And I didn't know what the hell VHS was. I'm like, hey, it's a movie. Wow, cool. And we sat down and watched this movie. And we were 5 years old. And yeah, I honestly, to this day, and then I showed my kids it when they were about 8, 9, and 10. And to this day, I do not remember the nudity. And I do not remember the sexual references at all, which goes to show that maybe as kids, those kind of things just don't register. Anyway, I watched that movie and I was dying. I could not believe it. And then Robert and I watched it again over the period of time, and we watched it again and watched it. And every time we watched it, we thought it was hilarious. So, but they've said that line at least 4 times in that movie. The most famous one of all is.
Do you know how to fly a plane? Surely you can't be serious.
Was that what?
Do you know how to fly a plane? And Ted Stryker, played by Robert Hayes, is telling Leslie Nielsen's character, surely you can't be serious. And Leslie Nielsen's response is, of course I'm serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Don't call me Shirley, right. But no, but that's not important right now. Line is the one with the hospital where he said, we've got to get these people to a hospital. He said, a hospital, what's that? And he said, well, you know.
What's that?
But they've done it, they did it again, and I'm trying to remember, they did it again later. They
Yeah.
did it a couple of times. Somebody needs to get me a Tylenol. What's that? It's this big round. No, no. What's a plane? It's a big round white thing that looks like a Tylenol.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. The fog is getting thicker and Leon's getting larger.
I'm so sad that I heard he died from cancer very young. That actor.
Who's that?
The actor. He died. He was a comedian. He was a stand-up comedian. And he died.
His name was Steven Stucker.
Yeah.
He was only 38 when he died. He died of he was HIV positive when he died.
Oh, I thought it was cancer. Oh God. Oh.
That was cancer. He was HIV positive. Yeah.
Oh, God. That's sad.
Yeah.
All right. I think we've kind of talked a little bit about that, and people are probably bored and probably closing off this window by now. So I think it's probably best to try to bring in some people for a little bit of a time and kind of share up the time a little bit. So
I think that's a good idea.
So Tracy, if you want to jump in now would be a good time to
jump in the line, Tracy.
Tracy was our first guest. I don't know if we get any of the other guests, but let me see. And Tracy.
Is Tracy there? Is Darren there?
Tracy is waiting. Hold on. No, Francisca is. Oh, Francisca's here. So let's let Francisca in.
Okay, here we go.
I don't know if you know Francisca. Do you know Francisca?
Hi, Francisca.
Hold on, she's joining. Let's see.
I'm not seeing her though.
Yeah, hold on. I don't know if she'll join.
No sign of her.
But Tracy, you could jump in as well. Good morning, Maria. You don't remember Francisca Hector from McCann? I don't think she was she there around your time? She used to work in media.
Well, I don't think she was around. I don't think she was around during my time.
All right, so Francisca, if you're hearing me or not, I don't know what's going on. Why is it's allowed to do? Oh, wait. Francisca is trying to join again. Hello, Francisca.
Hello, Francisca.
Okay, you can keep your camera off. You don't.
Yeah, if you don't want to, it's okay.
I can ask to unmute you.
I mean, you'd be a rose between two thorns, but that's okay.
Hi.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Right now, it's like a sauna gone wild in here.
Yeah, it's really hot.
But I'll survive.
Full blown. Francisca, where are you now?
Oh, okay, wait. I had to take off my Facebook because I was hearing an echo and I didn't know why. So now I can hear you.
Oh, great.
All right. Where am I now? I am at the Trinidad and Tobago International Financial Center.
Oh, fun.
I had to make sure and say it like that.
That is totally not advertising.
No, it isn't, but I'm still doing the marketing communication thing. So I have now become the lovely client.
Oh, glad we got a client. We finally got a
So that's how it works. Okay.
I have been in all spectrums. I've been in the agency. I worked in television for a little bit, trying to convince you all that television was the way to go. And then now I'm at in marketing in a company on a client role. So yeah, full spectrum.
Ta-da.
Tracy.
Tracy, you don't know Francesca.
Of course I know Francesca.
Of course I know Tracy.
Yes, I legitimately know Frankie. So huzzah!
Huzzah! Hey, like our ground in touch. Looks good.
Also, I thought nobody would come. I'm so negative. Our person question, who we call our person question, says, you must stop being negative. I'm like, I'm not negative.
Aren't you, Reed? I mean, I just... What's going on, But hi, guys.
Well, it's an appropriate time at 6:15 when people are not at work.
Yeah, well, we decided...
Not everyone is self-employed, has their own business.
I'm not self-employed.
I'm working from home, so I have the joyness of that scene where the day ends and it doesn't end, but it also ends, but it also doesn't end because I'm working from home. So it's funny that way. But yeah, heights.
So
Just like
Francesca
being
work at the agency that Jared and I worked at, and Tracy worked at some point in his life, which we will
Yes.
not name. We don't name.
Mhm.
But I asked Francesca. I wanted Francesca to come on because she's like, "Y'all don't talk about media. Everybody's media.
And the fact that he is saying it in that voice is why I said it.
Read. I mean, well done.
I have most respect for media people. I love them. And I've always asked why a media person can't be on a brainstorm. I remember telling the creative director, not the one in question, but a creative director before, Mr. McAvoy. I call him Mr. McAvoy. You know, Tracy, you know who I'm talking about. Mr. Transparent Pants.
Yeah.
I remember asking him, why can't we have any media people on brainstorms? And he goes, well, I can't do the accent. He just said, why? Why would you do that? Why would you want that? I'm like, because the part of the agency. Well, are you going to ask the janitor? I'm like, okay,
Yummy in my tummy. Yeah, that one.
And Francesca, how long were you at the agency?
I think I was at McCann for just a little over. Oh, we don't say words?
Don't say the word. Oh, don't say the word.
don't say the M word. It's verboten, don't you know?
Okay, we need to send instructions beforehand.
Yeah, it's verboten. Don't say the M word.
It's become a Voldemort. So we just
you say something
at least
like
in this space.
The Macaulay Company or something like that, or you know, I don't know, you call it that, or the Manfred Mann Agency or something, blinded by the light.
All right, so yeah, how long were you at the agency?
A little over 2 years. Not that long.
Oh, it wasn't that long. I thought it was long.
No, it wasn't that long. No, just a little over 2 years, I think. Yes.
Okay, cool. Good. Yeah. Then what was your experience like?
Hold on a second. There's a plane passing overhead. Hang on. Shut up. Okay. Yeah. Go on now.
Let me see. It was good, you know, but back then I was very young, so I didn't really want to date myself. But that was my first real job.
Really?
And I started doing media planning buying. That was my boss? Colette was my boss. Do we say names here? Do I have to say like CN?
We could try to not to.
So CN was my boss. But it was a good experience within the department, I would say. And because I didn't have anything to compare it to, but as you would have said earlier, there were things that media just was not included in. And it was all, well, we were invited sometimes late to the drink up that there was upstairs on a Friday afternoon. But you know, it always seemed like kind of like, okay, if we have something extra, then then we do it for media. So, but I mean, I wasn't always that offended. But I think people who were there like longer or who were, more involved in things kind of may have felt, okay, that's just how it is, Yeah. But when I was at another agency, it was like totally different because it wasn't that big. So we were kind of part and parcel of everything that was going on.
Good. Yeah. Your basically experience was positive. And like I think Jared always kind of backs this up that nothing that ever happened wherever you work was not a learning experience. You learned a lot about people, you learned a lot about things, and you learned how to deal with this and how to do that. So I think it's always a good experience. But I don't know if anybody really knows what media does. So if you could just give a kind of a rundown of, because we talk about copywriting and we talk about graphics and we talk about TV ads. What does the media department do?
Well, the media department, one, helps to pay the bills because most time that is what is paid first. So you have media. What we do is media would find the best space for your TV ad. We would negotiate. And I must say about the agency that can't be named, let's call it M&M's. We definitely did have a lot of tools that others may or may not have had, where we used the software to determine ratings, even though it wasn't as good as it is today, because back then we had to depend on the survey that came out every so often. That was ridiculously expensive, but we were one of the few that would provide ratings for television shows or ratings for radio stations to provide a rationale behind why we're putting it this place or why we're not. And I mean, there are peculiarities in media with clients as well. So we also, have to deal with one when the client calls you directly and doesn't call the AE, and then the AE coming to look for you to talk about why did you tell the client this. So there's that. There's also peculiarities, and a client would say, well, why do you have an ad on a public holiday? I don't listen to the radio on a public holiday because I'm going to the beach and I listen to a CD. Okay, well, back then it was CDs, okay?
Right.
Wow,
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Back then.
Yeah.
But I mean, we had our own peculiarities in media, but that's what media does. We would negotiate with television stations, radio stations, and for us, we actually would some of our clients used to do Barbados and Jamaica, so we would negotiate with the agencies there, or we would negotiate directly with the newspapers and in other countries. Like I know there was one that used to do like in Aruba and Suriname and things like that, a client specifically. Or if somebody wanted to do something internationally. So that's basically what we would do. And yep, make sure that the size was correct, the plans are good, and that they most importantly appear in the newspaper or on the television. And if they don't, we call and tell them we would like some free advertising or money back. So yes, that is what media does essentially. And of course, now I know it has evolved with the advent of social media, and I'm not really sure exactly how all agencies, if it's separate or if it's together, or I don't know. Tracy, you're still at an agency, correct?
I'm still at an agency. Sorry, I'm having Pringles. I'm still at an agency. I know that media still is very important in terms of ATL stuff, but then we have like our own social media division, so to speak, like most agencies now. You have your own social media division, what are we going to do stuff, all that kind of jokey. So that's the thing that happens.
I just wanna bring in Anthony because he's been waiting a while, and then I wanna restart the Zoom, right? And everybody can come back in because we're running out of time. I didn't pay for the long time Zoom thing. Poor, and so is Jared. So we're all poor. So let me just bring in Anthony so you can say hello to everybody. The thing is, yeah, I think media is a very unknown. Tony, how you doing? Is Tony hearing me?
Is Tony there?
Yeah, I think he's connecting.
Oh, he's connecting now. Okay.
His audio is off. But anyway, when you get sorted out, I think media is an unrealized resource. Even now with what's happening with what they call programmatic advertising, where you're letting the computer do most of the stuff now, right? The thing is that you need somebody who understands look, this radio station, with this guy called Jared in the morning, nobody listens to that. Don't put your ads on them. Absolutely.
Rude. Rude.
But what I'm saying is give them a chance. I know there are people who listen, so put that in. So it's very important to have a feeling, a gut feeling. You know, to know that this is the right place, because without media, your message would not be seen or heard or whatever. So it's important. It's important media has a role to play in the whole, you know, and people come to me and say, you know, I don't need a media person. I could do this myself. I was like, good luck with that. Because there's more to it than just knowing that. Is dealing with media people who come to you to try to beg you for, put add in this supplement now. Please, help out there now. Just take 5 ads and put it in the supplement. I only have 1 ad. Okay, I'll give it this ad for half price to begin with. I'll give it 4. And things like that, you know?
Things like that.
I'm not hearing anything from you. So I don't know what's going on. You may
Type him a message or something. Because it could be his mic or the
I'm gonna have to start this Zoom anyway. So I'll resend the link back into the live.
Okay.
But great having
Anthony's connecting to audio, so yeah, there he is.
Anthony?
Hi.
Anthony?
There he is.
Hey, there's Tony the man. Tony, we have 5 minutes. Talk fast. I'm going to restart the Zoom, so it's not a problem. I'll just resend, but it's still muted. It's still muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How's it
All
going?
right, good.
Hi, Tony. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Yeah.
So far, man?
I don't know if you know Francesca. She used to work at the agency that we used to work at many, many moons ago in media. You remember her?
I am sure I do.
Sure.
She here? Hi, how are you doing?
Francesca is muted, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm good.
Very good.
Hi, Francesca.
Let me look at some comments. Tony, tell us about this. Tell us quickly about this new ad that you put out, that went out.
All right. So firstly, I know we have limited time, so let me just jump into it. When I joined Ogilvy a couple of years ago, I think it was in 2018, somewhere thereabouts. The client had something in the works where they wanted to focus on the age of Marcus, and they wanted people to know that it's actually in fact an old bear, and it's been around for quite a long time. And so the challenge was to how to create this message and create that, a good story around it. The challenge was every avenue they looked at, they was considering going to Europe and filming and that kind of stuff. And it was just too much. It was just too costly. So when I came in, they presented me with the task and said, how would you deal with it? And I said, I gave it some thought, and I thought, let's recreate it. Let's recreate it in a miniature way, because at this time I was inspired by something that I saw online, actually out in California, where this guy was creating these wonderful miniature cities. And I was like, why not? Let's do that. And they bought it. And so, yeah, that was the beginning of the journey. We went ahead and did storyboards. We did the sketches. We it was quite technical because we had to decide what the size would be, how small or how large, and in relation to the filming equipment, that because we had to purchase a specific, Cinepos had to purchase a specific camera lens for the job. And so it was really, really technical. And but it was cool because we got to go out there. We met with the designer of the miniature. We get to spend some time, see how they do it. So yeah, it was a long journey. It's been done for actually a year now. It's been sitting, because of course the client had to sort themselves out and this whole COVID thing and all of that. So yeah, so finally it's been released, and I'm happy to see it out and people seeing it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Just so that we know, it's Marcusson. It's on their Instagram. It was sent to me this afternoon. I sent it to you, Jared. I don't know if you got a chance to look at it. But Tracy, you could go and take a look.
Yes, I did get a chance to look at it, actually.
Beautiful. I mean,
it is. It is. It's crisp. It's quite clean, and I have to say I couldn't tell if I was looking at something that it seemed quite real to me. So I think if I couldn't tell the difference, then I think you've done your job in terms of conveying the message that Mackeson has had a rather impressive history in terms of the brand and so on. So that was rather excellent.
You really want to take it back and see what the origins of the brand. Yeah, go ahead.
Before we start the Zoom, so if anybody wants to jump back on, what I'll do is I'll just put the link back into the live, right, on Facebook. All right. So
cool, because I want to hear more about this.
Thanks a lot for people who come, Francisco. Thank you very much. If you want to jump back on, you can jump back on.
My proposal was a cheaper way than what they were, originally shooting for. So they kind of jumped on that right away. It was like, all right, cool. This makes sense because we can get the same thing, the same feel, but at the same time with a lot less, a much smaller budget. So I think that was going for us initially.
Yeah.
The story actually had a lot of iterations along the way. The original storyline was changed more than twice, and little things had to go in and little things had to come out. Even after shooting, even after doing all the model the model was built out in California and was shipped to Trinidad.
Really?
In part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the model builder came down and rebuilt it here. And so it was like many nights of because when he got here, of course he's expensive. So you get him here, you get the model here, and you get him to build it here within a short time frame. So you kind of like there with him, and you make sure he has all the things that he needs and that kind of stuff. And at the same time, get the film crew in the same room, understand the logistics in terms of the lighting, understand because the model itself, actually, all the lights were working. In the model, all the street lights were working. The lights inside of the building were actually functional, and so there was a electric, I would say a lighting technician for the model alone.
Yeah.
There was he had an assistant builder, and himself. So he's quite talented and he can do a lot. But within the time frame that was, so there's a lot of challenges happened during, after, and even after it was filmed. There was back and forth in terms of what should actually stay, what should go. There was differences between, of course, the creative and the marketing department. But we got to a point where, okay, good. Well, it has to get done. This is what we have, and I think it ended up pretty good.
Yeah, it did. Jared is having technical difficulties again, so just let Jared figure it out. I don't know what's up with Jared and his Zoom. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I was in a discussion with a guy this afternoon, and he's like, "They're gonna do that in CG, man." And I'm like, "No, why would you just blindly say that?" I mean, yes, you're jealous. You probably didn't get involved in the job, but doing it in CG, you could have achieved it. Like, don't get me wrong, you could have achieved it, but it still would have had, how to put it, the organic feel of what we saw could be achieved in CG, but you wouldn't get it. You would get it faster from what was done. You see, you get it immediately. Whereas in the computer, you just have to go in there and tweak until you get it right. So yeah, I mean,
even though Ian, the best animators in the world, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of technology, a lot of expertise to render things in a realistic way to humanity.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to come easily, and I most likely, I don't think there's any local, you know, CG producers who can reach that level that we wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
So I always find, and I said it in the back behind the scene video, where I think, you know, in advertising, we tend to move away from real artistic abilities.
Yeah.
And I find, you know, the more you stay in touch with, you know, actual art in advertising,
Yeah.
in terms of see somebody build something, to create something, to paint something,
Yeah.
I find those things at a different level of connectivity, a different level of tactileness
Yeah.
to advertising, where people feel a little more connected, especially in this digital world.
Yeah.
You know, in this digital space, we need to be moving closer to actual creativity and art, as opposed to moving away from it. So
But-
that's what I
but
want to do. And I think they did
Anthony,
a good
the
job.
question is, could nobody in this country have done that? Okay, so the question is, why did you have to go to California? I'm not judging, I'm just asking. Why did you have to go to California? Why was there nobody locally that you would have even considered?
There has been in the past, I've heard of it, I haven't seen it myself. I think it was a White Oak ad or something like that even I think Willandine and they were involved in, and he kind of referred to me, but it was this closest thing I've seen. I've seen model builders here in Trinidad, and there's some good ones, but they wouldn't have been able to have the technical ability to build what we needed to build to spec.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the spec was very important because we needed to know the space where the camera was moving. We had to measure from where to where and how long it will take from point A to point B, and understand the sizes that we are dealing with, and the capability of the camera, the lens that we had to use, you know, to get that stuff. So I don't think anybody locally could have done it.
Well, and now again, the same friend telling me, it could have been done. Okay, so the thing is, there will always be an argument to keep it local. No problem, right? But I am thinking that you could have gotten somebody local to do it, but the track record of the guy who you brought from California, unfortunately, he has a better experience and he knew what he was about, that you don't have to worry about whether this thing is being done. Now, Jared, I want to tell you this story. Years ago, I was listening to the documentary about the making of RoboCop, the movie. And the guy who was designing RoboCop was doing it with sculpture. And that's all he could do. He was designing the RoboCop guy in sculpture. So every time there needed to be a change, he'd have to go and scrape things off and change it. And Paul Verhoeven, the director, was ripping his hair out and saying, why are you taking so long to get this thing done? Now, mind you, it came out looking good in the end. But no director, no creative person wants to be constantly worried about whether or not this guy could do what needs to be done. I think, Anthony, that's what you're saying. You're saying you'd prefer to be dealing with somebody who know what they're about and who could pass on the knowledge. Because I'm sure, what's the name of the production company? Cinepost learned a hell of a lot about lighting, learned a hell of a lot about technical, as what's his name said in the beginning. He said, I never shoot a model in my life. And now he knows how to do it. You know, if he had to do it again, he could do it again. You know, so we're not throwing out the idea that whatever was done, you know, because it's a foreigner is bad, which is what we tend to do. We tend to say, oh, because it's a foreigner, we gotta get our local. No, you're bringing in something special here to do a special job. What's the problem? Why you know?
You know, Ian, let me say this. The thing is, we like to think internationally, but if we don't work internationally, then we will never be international.
Exactly.
You know, we have to engage with people on a different level first to be international. It becomes an international ad because we've worked with people internationally to make it happen.
I thought it was an international ad. I'm like, why are they running this in Europe? They need to run this in Europe. It's the greatest thing ever. There is not one whining on a big truck in that ad, and I think that's the greatest. That makes it, I'm sorry to say, but that makes it international. In a sense that, you could have done it. You could have done it with a Trini flavor, and it would still look international, but you couldn't run it international. It's two different. We were talking to Francis about media. Media means that you can't take this ad, and actually, this is what we do when we do digital advertising. When you do a digital ad and you say you're targeting this to men 18 to 25, you're not going to do an ad with an old man in it who's 45. You can't. You see, so you create an ad for that market that you want to attract. So this ad is universal, and that's the great thing about it. It's universal. I love it. Yeah. But Jared, this brings you to you remember the Guardian Life ads? You remember the Guardian Life ads that Hernandez FCB did?
1986. Yeah. Yes. With Kitchener and Sparrow, right?
No. After that. The Kitchener and Sparrow ones were good too, but they did one with animation.
Yeah.
Like Disney animation. And they had, what's his name? The guy with the pan, Teague. What's his name?
Liam Teague.
Liam Teague was the composer. And he composed classical music.
It was a kind of a Lion King-esque.
Right.
Life, abundance,
right.
life.
And the interviewer on the TV6 News or whoever asked him, well, why didn't you use soca? And he's like, no, well, we were trying to get a mood and nobody understood that. People was like, yeah, but that's the thing. But it gave this felt like a big international company that was trustworthy. You see,
right.
and again, I was scrolling through Marcuson's Instagram.
I think one ad that worked pretty well in terms of animation, in terms of having that overall emotional impact, it had an international feel to it, was there was this B-Mobile ad in 2006 when the animation was done by a really great individual, a fellow by the name of Christopher Guinness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that for me did it. The animation was stellar. It was grade A stuff. And you looked at it and you said, there is no way in hell this could have been done locally.
Yeah.
So we do have the potential to do it. The potential is there.
Yeah.
To with some world-class work.
Yeah.
The problem is that we really don't have the kind of resources to make it a reality.
I wouldn't call it resources. I disagree with you there. I think we have people who are not open-minded enough. But again, we don't want to go down that road. Yes, Tracy. Let me hear you, Tracy. Tracy, you wanted to say something?
She didn't want to say anything. Tracy was just nodding on watching to see how it plays out. Yeah. So finish that piece of thought and then I'll jump in.
No, jump in.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, okay, so let me say this. So in a scenario like this, a lot of things are happening. And one of the things that is happening at the same time is that you sell an idea, you sell a big idea to a client like this, who is giving you a shot to do something that they don't usually do. So they're trusting you.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't, as you said earlier on, Ian, you can't take chances. At that point, you have to know that you can deliver. You promise something, you have to know that you can deliver. And if you just don't know, you're not sure that you can do it with the resources here on the ground, then why do that?
Yeah.
The first priority is to make sure that the job gets done in the way that you promise it would, at the price you think it would. And you don't get fired in the process, So those things that you have to take into consideration. And then but at the same time, this ad is going to be in North America. And the purpose of the ad is very important. So not only the filming and the miniature design, but also even the music. The music was created and how do you call it? It was composed specifically for the ad as well. You know, and we didn't go soca because the origins of the brand, the origin of the product is not from here, it's from England.
Yeah, exactly.
So for us, classical was the way to go.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, those are the reasons. And you can't just look at it for saying, you know, go local. Go local is not always the best possible way.
Well, I remember,
and sometimes, just like in the case of the whole Juve thing, if we fail to engage the Juve situation with Mr. Jordan, if we fail to engage internationally, we fail to participate on an international stage and share things on an international level, we will never get international.
Yeah.
I just, that's not something that we want to do with this act.
Yeah, we talked about Michael Jordan on our 5th episode. Go and listen to it. But yeah, we had mentioned that it was an opportunity that we basically peed on. And we didn't understand why. Because we lacked that understanding. And I don't want to blame. I'm not saying that our people are who they are, or whatever. I mean, this is reality. We live in reality. But to come back to one of the things that we talked about in one of our previous episodes is the role of the I think it was the episode with Kevin Gibbs, where Kevin was saying that he wanted to be part of the Triple ATT. And one of the things that we talked about, which is not, I didn't put published, right? One of the things that we said was that the advertising agency associated with Trinidad and Tobago is a waste of time. And one of the things is that we used to have these big award shows and have nothing to show for it other than the fact that it was just a big fit. And I'm like, why aren't we bringing people every 6 months or every month, bring some kind of person down? And now that we're using Zoom and Teams and all this, why isn't the Triple ATT doing things for the industry to bring people, as you say, internationalize, bring people to give us help and to give us ideas and to show us the way. And we've become very insular in the agencies right now, more so than ever, because everybody's just, you know, I don't know what it is, but the AAATT seems to be this kind of dead organization. I'm probably going to get a message from somebody saying, how dare you say that? How dare you can say that? I'm no longer in the agency business, so
you could, so we can afford to get together that.
Sorry, Tracy, I didn't want to kill you.
I always said that even a few years ago, they sent out a circulation asking people what their thoughts were about the Creative Awards, and myself and other people that I know was talking about the fact of the point of the Creative Awards. We really didn't know what it was, and you can't. And so I guess we were getting to that point where you can't just critique creativity. You can't just judge creativity. You have to now judge performance of advertising. You have to understand how well did the ad do. And you know that we're in a digital space, we should be able to track and analyze these things and understand, you know, run the analytics on campaigns and understand how well did our campaign do, and then base creativity on that. I find before that, it's just a waste of time, and we still haven't gotten to that point yet.
Yeah. Jared, you want to jump in and say anything at this stage before we reach the end of this session?
No, I think that everything that we do right now is kind of I hate to use the cliche, but it's a straight case of reinventing the wheel.
Yeah.
I can recall a time when we were not, I mean, as a creative body, and I'm not referring to the entity known as the Advertising Agencies Association, but I'm referring to a time when we as a creative body were not afraid to take risks. We were not afraid to take chances. We were not afraid to look outside and to see if we could get, you know, some degree of inspiration.
Yeah.
Which is why whenever we've done ads from, say, 30, 40 years ago, we had a reason, we had a purpose, and like I said, we weren't afraid to go international. We weren't afraid to adopt or fashion certain things from overseas and make them our own.
Yeah.
And I think that is what made them memorable. You know,
we talked
but
about
now,
that last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, what has happened, unfortunately, is that we have become quite insular and even clannish, to the point that if we made the bold step and said, you know what, maybe if we did this, maybe if we did that, maybe if we tried something new from outside, from overseas, and incorporated it into our culture, the way we do things, maybe then, you know, we could say, yes, we're making progress. But that unfortunately has not happened. You know, Hutch, you wanna say something?
Yeah, no, I was just kind of backtracking a little bit to two things. One, I kind of often wonder what creative people define as local. You see, because and I say something like that only because, yes, I've had my share of let's add soca, or let's you know, we need to have this one type of music, this one kind of vibe to it. Where we live in a country where we have being an idiot here, but we have rock musicians and that kind of stuff. And it's kind of amusing that in terms of how people define local, it's usually this one little group, this one little thing, which may or may not inherently help the brand or help the creative process. I have had, and then too, there's also the idea of people being in their, you know, Jared talks about being insular, people living in their own world. Because I have had clients both in years gone by in another agency and even recently who, you know, they say things like, I remember this one client who said to me and a girl who I call the sun god, that people in a particular, you know, in the East-West corridor, they only listen to X, Y, and Z with like 3 or 4 syllables. So having a Beach Boys rhythm to go with it mixed in with something that was dance hall was not going to fly. And we had to literally, at the time, put our salary on the line. We actually did that. We were told the client, listen, we will forfeit a month of our salary. This can work. Let it happen. And under much begrudging, they did that. But I say all this to say, what exactly do people, how do we categorize what local really is? Because like I know animators, I know model makers, I know people who actually have the talent, whether it is that they went outside in order to be able to do things and come back inside Trinidad and Tobago or whatever, but they're always held within what people deem will sell as local. So if you say to me, we want to do something with a local flavor, we want to create a piece of something with a local flavor, do you approve of me going and talk to Nigel Rojas so that I can have a piece of, you know, rock-infused Caribbean vibe thing happening? Do you see yourself happening in that light?
Yeah.
Or is it that you're coming to tell me that the only thing that in your mind, I'm talking about big CEO type people, in your mind, you know, local as far as you're concerned, has to look and sound in one particular fashion. So that was a thing that was running through my brain. And as for the AAATT type thing, I know some people who legitimately prefer to just do Addy Awards. Like even when, you know, like every year or every other year, you would get this stuff saying Creative Awards, and we're like, what do we do with the Creative Awards? like what exactly should, like, no, I don't want to enter this Creative Awards. It probably might be fun, but I don't want to enter it. I'll save my money and I'll go to Addy's or go and dig up cans or go and dig up somebody else.
Hold on. I'm just going to say. Okay, so years ago, a mutual friend of ours who also worked at the agency, and Tony, you know him, he's been in the business for years. He only just retired recently. He's calling me crusty old. whatever, his name. About 3 years after they started the local awards, we'd already been doing Addies. And we'd never been winning, we never won an Addie. Or we would never win an Addie. We'd win one Addie, we'd win one silver, right? We started doing these local awards, and we started winning these awards, and everybody was happy. And this guy's like, what's this crap? What is shit? He was just being very dismissive. I'm being very starry. I was like, no, awards is the greatest thing. I am in the exact same position he is now. And I think, Tony, you're probably in the same position as that. It's like, what's the point of this? What is the point of it? Exactly. And when I looked at the Addies that came out last year, and I was just like, but the Addies have come just like the local awards. I see instead of winning, then I'm like, where they getting these judges from? I don't understand how this could win an award. It's just weird, Now, mind you, the Addies level is still high. Don't get me wrong. But the local awards, everybody's just, the awards is like monopoly money.
Yeah, when you have in the local scene, just in the local scene, right, and you have at the time maybe 14 to 16 agencies, you have 50 something awards to one agency, 40 something to another. Then what is the point? It's kind of like you're right. It's just like handing it out to whoever for whatever. And even the Addies, I find the idea of judging creativity for creativity's sake, I think we should be beyond that now, because the capabilities of digital and the ability to track, performance of advertising should be, at the forefront. It should be what I should be. Okay, because you don't know. I can put, somebody with one eye on in a post, and because the thought process that goes behind that allows that thing to perform in a particular way, then how can you tell me that is not creative as opposed to something that is well polished and well thought out, and and all the creative acumens in it and all that kind of nonsense? You really can't tell now. You have to really talk about the performance of something. How does it perform? How does it get to the point and achieve the goal that you set out to achieve, and how effective that was? And award me for that. Don't award me for painting a nice picture, because we could all do that. We could all create.
I agree. I just got a comment from one of our viewers. He refuses to come on. He's a guy who worked with another agency, young guy, very talented 3D artist. I want to shout out to Mr. Okera Damani. Okera has done work with Bungie. He was the last Bungie video with all these 3D animation stuff. Okera was instrumental in that. And Okera just said, this probably has been your most interesting episode so far.
Wow. Okay.
That's something.
So thank you, guys.
But I want to just one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to go back 1 second to this international thing, because I think it's a real problem we have as a country, as a culture.
Yeah.
Because think about yourself. I don't know if any of you, if you spend any kind of time outside of this country in another country, particularly a big one, let's say the US, right? It's very difficult for somebody that lives in New York to think local. They don't see the world like that. They see the world as, okay, I'm here, you are there. And the difference between local and international doesn't really compute in that way. So, for instance, the only thing they might probably know that is local is the local news channel. That is it. Nothing else is considered local. Everything they do, everything they engage in, everything they consume is of a global nature. And I think we need to move from this island idea of, we be physically isolated, but with digital, again, we are not isolated anymore. And we need to move out of that mindset of, it's them and us, local, international. It is all one thing. It is all one thing. And we behave, the people of the country, the people who engage on social media, the people who consume digital information, they behave internationally. They consume international information. It is the advertisers, particularly the clients, who have this idea of, if I don't put a TT at the end of it, or if I don't put the red, white, and black on it, or I don't put soca on it, then they don't know it's from Trinidad, which is like really crazy.
That's valid. It doesn't apply to everybody. Yeah, so I just want to talk about, just want to shout out to my friend Meldor. Melissa is an awesome social media manager. She used to work with me at another agency, same one that Okera worked with. We all work together. Jared, has told us where to find the
Tunnocks.
The Tunnocks are. Now, somebody need to go down to the archives and go in the archives. I will give you money if it requires. I just don't know how much it is to do a search. Now, apparently, there's a guy in TV4. She told me his name. I got his number. I'll send it to you, Jared. I want to give him a call because he's been cataloging all the old ads. The problem is he hasn't created a database where you can search it. So it's kind of like all in his head, but he's digitized everything. Everything.
Wow.
Everything. So when you said, I don't know if that exists anymore, apparently he has it existing. Now, I don't know about radio. I do know about TV. So it brings us to the point where we're talking about the future and the present. But we keep trying to erase the past for some reason. If there's some way that we could, get together and try to preserve this stuff that this guy is doing, and help him. Maybe it's just, I was going to talk to Jason. I was hoping Jason would have jumped onto the call. But Jason is good at these things. Create a database for him so that you can search. So if we search for Tunnocks ad, we get the Tunnocks TV ad, So I want to say thanks to Mel because she worked at TV4 and she was working in the archives and she said she distinctly remembers that maybe seeing that ad there. So that's up in Lady Young. It's still up in Lady Young. We still got all this stuff up in Lady Young. So yeah, that we wanna kind of to give shout to that. All right, so you normally end this thing by saying something, but that's not important right now. So what's the something? What is moccasin?
Something.
What is moccasin?
What is moccasin?
Yes.
Actually, the better tasting stout, in my opinion.
But that's not important right now.
Y'all are all insane. All of you people are insane.
All right. I like it.
Thank you guys. I really, really appreciate y'all coming on. Jared, you and I stay and we kind of finish up and do a little bit of talking about what's going to happen next. Yeah?
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks, Tony.
Hey, you have a good night.
Awesome.
Good.
Bye. Good. All right, Jared. So what I want to do is we want to take maybe a 2-week break.
A 2-week hiatus, okay, fine.
Yeah, we're going to come back at season 1, episode 1. Season 2, episode 1. So what I'm going to do in the interim,
season 2, okay.
I want to try to just push season 1 a little bit. Just kind of get people to listen to it, get the listenership up. And then what I want to do is I want to try to have a powwow with you maybe before the end of August. So I don't know, maybe not 2 weeks. I don't know. Maybe in the middle of August, and then we'll see if we could change the format slightly.
Okay.
One of the things I want to do is I want to get away from this Zoom thing, because as Okera rightly said, it sounds much better when you have more people. Well, obviously we knew that. So,
well, yeah, that's the important thing. Yeah.
Right. So evenings like this seem to be better to bring people on. Using Zoom is a pain in the ass unless I could pay for it, which I'll have to explore. But maybe we could try, doing what we wanted to do in the beginning, but try to focus on that. Right. So for the next 3 weeks, let's do a little learning about technology. Let's see if we can work on the Spotify thing and see maybe we could use that instead on our own, rather than just, and then we come back in 2 weeks. How's that sound? So I'll schedule something with you next week, but we won't publish it. Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah? This is good, Jared. I love this. This is awesome. I think
yeah, you are awesome.
Thank you. But I didn't expect to have Tony take over the whole show in a way. But that Marcusson thing dropped just before the show started. So it was important. I think it was important to talk about. And I didn't expect him to come on and, but there were people saying that he wasn't involved in it. And that's sad. Everybody wants to take away the limelight. Okay, let me read what Okera says. Sign a 18 million deal with Spotify. Shut up, Okera. All right, now I forgot to record half of the conversation.
Oh, good Lord, Ian.
That's all right, because we were doing it on Facebook Live. So what I'll do is I'll just pull the audio from the Facebook Live. And that'll be fine, right? So I'll leave the Facebook Live up, and we'll call that episode 10. We'll just call it, and then I'll just put it up on Anchor later on. But yeah, we're really getting some good feedback from other people as well. So I'll just get some.
Nice.
Yeah. Cool. So we will reconvene. I'll give you a message next week, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Yeah.
Great.
So people, thank you for listening for this entire season. If you've listened to 1 to 10,
yes, thanks for putting up with us.
I think you need some migraine pills because we're really sorry. But thank you so much for listening. We'll be back.
It's so good,
We'll be,
it's so good, it's good. It's good. So I'm sweating like a horse here. I'm sorry.
Take it off, Dad. Take it off.
No, I don't want to traumatize people. I don't want to traumatize them.
No. Look, no, please don't do it. Oh my God. No. No. All right. Okay, that's it. You're done.
We're done.
Goodbye, John.
Okay.